Okay. So now it's gonna be I like my women like I like my cell phones. Go ahead. What we're gonna do, we're gonna practice push-pulls. Okay, everybody knows what a push-pull is? Right? Compliment, and then like maybe a negative statement. Compliment and insult, back to back. I'm gonna teach you guys how to do push-pulls on command. All right? To the point where you could just push-pull, 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 all right? So I'd be like, you know, I like your shirt, but like those shoes, just not doing it. But that said, you have a good smile, which is good because you look very nervous, you're gonna need it. And the laugh, yeah, okay, fair enough. But look, you're very attentive. I appreciate that, and you should be because you have a lot to learn, son. Right? Okay, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. All right, you should be able to just like literally just like go a minute straight at some point, right? If you can do that, how easy is it to do in set? Okay. So what we're gonna do right now is this: push pulls on command. And remember before I told you guys about the gun to the head thing? We're using the gun to the head technique again. All right. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna look at your partner and say the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't edit it, don't censor it, don't worry if it's offensive. If they get offended by it, fuck them, who cares, all right? Some girl will say something meaner to them at some point in their life. Look at them and say literally the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? If that first thing was insulting or negative, you're gonna follow it up with a positive. So it's like, bro, that shirt, but you know what, you seem like a cool guy overall, right? Or if the first thing is like really positive, be like, you're a good looking guy. You use that to make up for your lack of personality, I see, right? Right? Then you turn it into a negative, all right? Positive and then negative, all right? Yeah, Jesus.
How long can you go before we run out of material?
No, so you're gonna do one. So you're gonna look at your partner, say the first thing comes to your mind, and then if it's positive, you make it negative. Negative, you make it positive. If it's neutral, you pick one or the other and just go with it. So if it's neutral, you pick either positive or negative. Make sense? And then they'll go on you. They'll look at you and say the first thing comes to their mind and do a push-pull on you. Okay, again, don't think ahead. Don't plan the whole push-pull, just say that first part, whatever comes to your mind, and then adjust in the moment. Got it? Do it. All right, final exercise we're gonna do right now is for passing shit tests, okay? And so what we're gonna do now, within your partners again, your partner's gonna say any phrase to you that has the word I, you, or we in it. Doesn't necessarily even have to be a shit test, okay? It can be, you're not my type, or it could be, I'm wearing a black shirt. Okay, it doesn't even have like anything with I, you, or we. That's the only criteria. Okay, they're I, you, or we. So they say that to you. Your job then is to take that and misinterpret it. Okay, so you're going to treat it as a compliment, or better yet, if you can, treat it as a sexual advance. Okay, and then you're going to switch and you're going to make whatever I, you, or we statement at them. Okay, again, the keywords are I, you, or we. If that word's present, you can misinterpret it. I promise. Okay, I, you, or we. Got it? Go ahead and do it. You opened, got the girl hooked. Now it's time to take it to that next level. Let's talk about what you do post-hook. And here's a key concept. It's a concept of what I call the conversational funnel. Does anybody here work in sales or marketing at all? A little bit? One guy? All right, cool. Do you know what we call it, like a sales funnel? Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
All right, briefly explain to us what a sales funnel is.
It's basically stages of a sales cycle to go from prospect to customer.
Okay, cool. That's better put than I could have. Good job. I like that. So stages of a sales cycle to go from prospect to customer. So basically you have this wide range, and you end up with more prospects than customers, right? Almost by definition, right? So there's a wide range of people that we qualified to buy your thing, and then you take them through this process, these stages of getting them more and more and more bought in until eventually they're customers. And in that process, you're gonna lose some of them, right? Each time you escalate and move them through the funnel, it's like there's a lot at the top of the funnel, fewer at the bottom of the funnel that become customers, but you've created a valuable relationship by the bottom of the funnel, right? So that's what you're essentially doing. Now, ideally, what you want to do is, you have to move them through the funnel, because if you have a bunch of prospects that never become customers, you have a failing business, right? You have to get them to the bottom of the funnel and get them to buy shit. But at the same time, you want to lose as few as possible on the way there. Right? The more that you can keep in the funnel to get to the bottom of the funnel, the better off your business is. Okay? So that's a sales funnel. Look at talking to girls kind of as a conversational funnel. You have all these potential girls, and there are some that will get to the bottom of the funnel, and those are the girls you have sex with. You need to be overtly moving them through the funnel, moving them through this process of getting to know you, this process of making commitments to you, investing with you, that kind of stuff, escalating physically with you. But you want to lose as few as possible. Okay? Does that make sense? But you have to move them through the funnel. That's the point I want to make right now. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, I don't want to lose any of them, so I'm not going to take any risks. Okay? What's the stereotype that people have of like salesmen, or in particular like car salesmen? What's the stereotype? pushy, right? Sleazy and pushy are the two I hear a lot. The one I'm gonna go with is pushy though, okay? So you hear pushy, okay? And people are like, oh, that's not a good thing. I don't wanna deal with this pushy guy, whatever. Ask yourself though, what would a non-pushy car salesman be like, right? Broke, that's a good answer, right? So imagine that you go to a car lot and you're interested in buying a car. The guy walks up to you and he starts asking you questions. He's like, so do you have a family, or are you single? Fair enough, fair question, you answer that. He says, what's your favorite color? Fair enough, you answer that. Do you like hunting or fishing? Like, it's a little odd, but fair enough, I can see how that's relevant, fine. He's like, do you play any sports? Like, okay, you should talk to him about playing sports. And then he's like, I like playing sports. I like playing this sport and that other sport, and he starts like talking to you about the sports he likes to play, right? And then he says, do you have any kids? You answer that. He's like, what grades are your kids in? What sports do they like to play? And then he starts telling you his opinions on politics. And you're sitting here about like 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in, and the guy has not mentioned the word car. How do you feel about this salesperson? You're cool with that? Really? Who else is cool with that? You guys be cool with that experience?
Sell you a car or make a friend?
Right, exactly, right?
Intent is not clear.
Right. At a certain point, you'd just be weirded out. You'd be like, dude, I gotta leave, right? You wouldn't want to stay, right? Because he's not getting to the point, he's wasting your time, okay? Most guys in set, most guys when they're talking to girls, essentially are that car salesman who refuses to talk about cars, okay? Do you understand that? That's how most men talk to most women, right? You're there for sex, right? You're there for a relationship, and you'll talk about anything and everything but sex or relationship or her and you, right? You have to get to the point. You're there for a purpose, and if you don't get to the point, they're gonna get annoyed with you and leave, okay? Just to show it, I'm gonna show you a couple situations where I have the girl on an instant date like incredibly quickly, and the reason is because I asked, right? Most guys would have just sat and talked to the girl on the street corner in both these cases for a really long time, or maybe taken a number and left. I got the instant date because I asked. So have a look. Where are we? Emotion, 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 emotion. Oh, a couple little things on this one. So first, you notice me saying motion, emotion. That's to get my energy up. This is the fourth set I've done of the day. The previous three, I got 2 phone numbers, so they weren't like god awful, but I just felt like they weren't up to the standard that I expect of myself. So I'm reminding myself to bring some energy for this one. Next thing you're gonna notice, we talked about direct and indirect. This is a situation where I wanted to go direct, but just as I opened, she turned around at kind of an awkward moment, and so I expected kind of a negative response. So I went to indirect because I thought that she'd be more receptive, right? Then she immediately smiled and was happy, so then I switch it to direct. So you can notice that transition as well. Hey, excuse me. Hi. Are you from, actually I don't even care. I don't even know why I asked that. You're very cute.
Thank you.
Todd, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Todd.
Yes, you, sorry. I thought you had I thought, this is gonna be really creepy. Have you ever like shaken someone's hand and then they have like 2 fingers or something like that?
No.
I thought you just did that to me. I was like, oh shit. Anyway,
No.
What's your name?
Yeah.
You're quite cute.
Thank you.
What are you doing right this exact second of your life?
Shopping.
Shopping.
Or we'll talk to you right now, but shopping, yeah.
I like the second answer. That means you're literal and smart. See, I'm thinking that it's very hot and I want to take you for some kind of smoothie or related beverage for 2 minutes and find out if you're as cool and interesting as I think you might be.
Okay.
Does that sound like the worst idea in the world?
No.
I like that. Unfortunately, this is my first time here, so I don't know smoothie places. I
don't either, yeah.
We could go, actually Whole Foods right around the corner, we can go grab like a smoothie there. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Let's do it.
Your name's Todd?
It is.
And you're not from Vegas?
I am not from Vegas. Do it this way. I live here now, but I am recent.
Okay.
So I was originally New York and LA. Cool. Why did she go with me? Because I asked. Okay? Show you another example. My name is Todd. Short for ugly. Fair enough. Miss, I'm gonna ask a question that I don't care that much about the answer to. Ready? Where are you going? Home? Cool. You need to make a quick pit stop for a boba drink with a cute boy and then proceed home because this cute boy wants to meet you and he's going to Europe tomorrow, so it's going to be a while before he can otherwise. I'm going to Amsterdam first and then London.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Alright, I'm done.
Nice. All right, so you have to ask. You need to escalate. Now, when and how do you ask? That comes down to this, all right? Have anybody ever heard of straight line persuasion? You know what this is? So this is a sales model that was created by a man named Jordan Belfort, which you may know as Wolf of Wall Street. So I watched his sales course, and I looked at it and I was like, this is exactly the way I do game. Like exactly the same model, all right? And so here's roughly the model. Model is this. If this is 0 and this is the sale, or this is 0 and this is sex, when things are good, you need to move it this direction. You can't just dilly-dally and wait around, all right? It's kind of similar to the conversational funnel, right? You have to move it towards what your actual result is. Now assume that like, if this was a graph, this range of my hand is like the set's good. Like this is like perfect, this is still good, this is no longer good, all right? This is good, perfect, good, no longer good, all right? Whenever it's in this range of your hand, when the interaction is good, you need to be moving it forward. Now you can move it very, very slowly. In fact, you should be escalating it slowly and gradually. If you're trying to force it and go too fast, you're messing up. But whenever it's good, you need to be moving it forward, right? You need to be the car salesman that actually will mention the word car, okay? Now, as soon as it's not good, then you do not at all costs move it forward. You do not escalate on negatives. Does that make sense? That's where you lose sets. Okay, so there are two main mistakes that guys make in game. Like literally almost every mistake you make can be boiled down to these two. Mistake number one, the set's good, you don't move it forward. So you just sit here in this like good interaction, it never goes anywhere until eventually you lose your window and it's done. Okay? That's what we call the half-hour conversation to nowhere. Right? That's what we call the friend zone. Okay? That's vibe's good, you never escalate. All right? Second mistake is the vibe gets bad and you just continue blindly escalating even though it's gotten bad. All right? So things are going well, you're escalating, the girl shit tests you, and your answer to the shit test is to like try and escalate on her. Set's over. The girl will immediately reject you. Right? Or you offend the girl a little bit and you like refuse to apologize and make the vibe good. Instead you're just like, no, I assume it's always on. The girl just likes me. No, not right now she doesn't. Set's over. Okay? Two mistakes that guys make. One, not escalating when it's good. Two, escalating when it's not good. Right? Avoid those two mistakes. Right? When it's good, you escalate very, very slowly. When it's not good, you do not escalate. You change her mood, not her mind, make the vibe good. Once it's good again, then you can start escalating again. All right? When it's in this range, always escalating. Slowly, but constantly. When it's in this range, never escalating. Making the vibe good and getting it back to this range only. Okay? That's the model for how to progress and how to escalate properly in a set. All right? And that's what you're doing after the hook. Like, I've got her hooked, I got her attention, she's invested a little bit. Okay, as long as things are good, I'm moving it forward. As soon as things aren't good, get them good again and then move it forward. Very, very simple, but guys fuck it up so much. All right, so now I'm gonna show you an example of putting the whole thing together. And in particular, this is a really good example of just how I escalate. And it's fairly slow at first, but it's just continual. And then by the end, I've escalated quite a bit just because on continuity, it gets you there relatively fast. Sorry.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Oh, wow. I appreciate the attitude. I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate the attitude. Who are you?
How are you doing?
You're very welcome. You're welcome for the attitude. How did I end up in this conversation? All right, whatever. I'm Todd. Who are you? That is way too innocent of a name for a girl who can do those eyes.
I know, I'm right, always.
Wow. Dear Diary, I met this girl, and at first she seemed okay. The longer I knew her, the more she just became a royal queen.
Is that really a pain in the ass, though?
Now, to be fair, as long as you are not boring, I'm good. Just don't bore me. That's my criteria for real.
That's like sort of selfish.
Everybody's selfish.
Don't bore you.
Well, if I bore you, you can go as well. I mean,
Okay, both ways.
when you
It goes
finish
both ways.
your drink, that is. You know.
Well, that's already my rule because I have to go somewhere else. Otherwise, maybe I wouldn't have left. Maybe I would have stayed and taken your kidney and your liver and one arm.
Well, my kidneys and arms, thank you.
People as they are now.
Yep.
Yep. Be careful. Don't start to like enjoy the banter and want a non-organ harvesting relationship with me. That would be just
I know, I can't have that happen.
No.
I already have one of those. I don't need another.
I'm just happy you're healthy enough to maintain one of those. I was a little worried.
Did I say that I was? He actually said to me the other day, he's like, what do you do to keep yourself sane?
And you're like,
looked at
I'm
him.
not sane, so.
Oh, you don't have a drink?
No, I had some with dinner, but I just got here.
Oh, go get a drink.
Will you join me?
Yeah, I'm gonna come with you. I'm saying go get a drink.
What are you,
Can you
whiskey?
stop talking? Like, what were you doing? Just
Huh?
sitting there. Did you just get there when I started talking to you?
Yeah, I was texting my friends to see where they're at, and you bumped into me, and yeah, I literally just got in the door. My first experience was getting harangued by you.
Yeah, I've never really hung out with the bosses, to be honest.
I've
That's
been
hilarious.
drinking since 1, so.
Yeah? You're coming with me. Come. Not really? Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. What's your drink of choice?
I have it. I gotta go soon. Like, I'm not saying that to be like, I just have to go.
That was not a habit. That was not a I'll buy drinks with you and try and keep you her question. I was just, you know.
Well, it depends on my mood. Right now I'm drinking whiskey. This is just whiskey.
Straight?
Yeah.
You're the type of girl, this can never happen between us, but I would pull your hair, throw you up against a wall, and tease the living fuck out of you.
Really? I guess we'll never know.
If I could trust you, yes, but as is no.
Right now,
Because I can't take you to anywhere where I have a wall that I have control. I guess we could right here. Sorry, right here.
so what would you do?
Hypothetically.
Of course.
Hypothetically, there might be a little bit of hair pulling.
Okay.
I might bite your neck just enough to not quite leave marks.
Okay.
And I might tease and torment and go oh so close to something you want, but not quite give it to you.
Smart man.
Well, you told me after you slept you were going to steal my kidney, so I guess we can't sleep together. Am I sad? Is that what you said? Do I look sad?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so sad. You're actually really fun though. I still don't trust you, but you're fun. Come on. So cool.
I'm so cold.
I'll put in the.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh.
I'll put it in for you, yeah. Boom. Oh shit. Hang on. There you go. So that's when things go well. All right. So that gives you a general idea of the whole model. Let's talk about approach anxiety, shall we?
Yes.
How many of you guys have approach anxiety? A little bit? A little bit? All right, cool. I told you guys before I really don't have approach anxiety anymore, right? You guys want to know how I don't?
Yeah.
Yeah? What did you say?
Lots of thousands of approaches.
Thousands of approaches. That is one part of it. All right, so first of all, you need to understand what is approach anxiety. Approach anxiety is an emotion. Therefore, it is a chemical in your body. Very simply, okay? And it's something that made sense like centuries ago, millennia ago, right? Your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather probably is a lot, like lived and passed his genes along because he had some approach anxiety. Because he didn't approach the wrong girl in his tribe and get killed at age 13, okay? So probably somewhere in your lineage, it kept your family history alive, and that's why you're here today. So approach anxiety made sense back then, because we lived in small tribes, and one mistake socially could be the end of your life. Does not make sense in the 21st century because that is no longer the case, okay? So in the same way that you have like a little tailbone, like a little vestige of when you had a tail as a monkey, right? It's the same kind of thing. It exists, it's still there, but it doesn't actually serve you anymore. All right, so understand that. But don't think you're like a bad person for having approach anxiety. It's normal. It's normal and biological. It's a chemical in your body, okay? Now, the fact that it's a chemical in your body implies certain things. First of all, someone said thousands of approaches, right? I built up a tolerance. To the chemical. So if I were to drink 10 drinks a day, every single day for years, then I have like 2 drinks, would I be drunk? Absolutely not, right? Because I have a tolerance. Similarly, I can do approaches and it doesn't really faze me because I've built up a tolerance, right? It's my pickup superpower. I'm immune to social pressure, right? In a weird way, right? But people always say like, instructors are cut from the same cloth. Well, we are cut from the same cloth, but we've aged that cloth in a certain way. We've treated that cloth in a certain way, right? We have this tolerance. So we have this superpower, right? The good thing is you guys can have that superpower too. You just have to do the approaches, right? So that's one way. That's the ideal way. Eventually, is you get so much practice that you're just like immune to the social pressure chemical, right? However, there's a lot of other things that kind of go into it. The next thing is, where does the negativity of that chemical come from? It's because you're treating this feeling as a threat to your ego or a threat to your identity, right? You're viewing that if you go and talk to this girl and get rejected, that will somehow reflect on who you are as a man. And that's not really the case, right? You should be reframing it a different way. So let's say that you're gonna go ride a roller coaster, right? What emotion do you feel right before you're gonna ride the roller coaster?
Trepidation, excitement.
Okay, cool. Trepidation, you don't hear that one often. Okay, trepidation, excitement, all right? I'll focus on that second one, the excitement a little bit. If I put a gun to your head, what emotion would you feel?
Scared shitless.
Scared shitless, okay? So one is excitement, a little bit of like mild fear and then excitement. The other is like scared shitless, right? One's fairly positive, the other's fairly negative. But at their core, in both cases, you're basically feeling the same thing, which is adrenaline, right? In fact, the feeling from that roller coaster literally is the feeling of fear of death also. Does that make sense? But you're interpreting it in a different way. So in one case, it's excitement, in another case, it's fear. Same thing with approach anxiety. That's that same thing, it's just adrenaline, right? Are you gonna interpret it as fear, it's a threat to your ego and threat to your identity? Or are you gonna interpret it as excitement, wow, this is awesome, this could be great. This could be amazing, positive things could happen from this. This is opportunity. Because that's what it actually is. Right? When you see a hot girl, did your life just get worse? No, your life just got better. You were presented with a new opportunity that didn't exist a second ago. So you should be excited. You literally should be excited, not scared, right? But it's in the interpretation and it's in where you're focusing. Because you're focusing on, I don't want to fail. I don't want to look stupid, instead of I want good things to happen. I had a situation, I played soccer for a long time, I don't know if you guys know this, but in high school soccer I had a situation, I've never been the best at like taking long balls out of the air, like really long high balls, I've never been the best at it. So there's a situation where a goalkeeper sends this long high ball up to me, I'm like playing sort of towards the front, and I see it, and I see it go over, I'm like, oh shit. And then I think someone else will get it, and then I realize like I'm the person that's, I'm like, oh shit. I literally said oh shit out loud, and I went and ran after it, and then just did the best I could with it, right? And my coach happened to be on the field as a training session, and he heard me say oh shit and then go do it, right? And afterwards he looked at me, he's like, Todd, that's not an oh shit ball. That's the ball we want him to hit. We want him to find you with that, right? So like, I don't know what's going on in your head, but that's not an oh shit. That's an opportunity, that's what we want. Get used to it, be excited about it, right? It's the same kind of thing with the girls, right? Yes, there's a chance you could make an ass of yourself a little bit. Who the fuck cares? Right? It's an opportunity, right? It's not an oh shit situation. This is the situation we want. Be excited about it, right? That's why I said I miss the approach anxiety thing, because it is exciting to me. It's so exciting to me that the times, those rare times when I do get a little bit of it, I know that's gonna go well, because I know I actually care, right? Now I have approach apathy. I have like, oh, here we go through the motions again, yay, right? I wish I had approach anxiety more often, because when I do, it goes really well. Okay, so that's the other thing. So on the one hand, you can build that chemical tolerance. On the other hand, change the frame so that the chemicals are not created in a negative way. You're not creating this negative feeling, you're creating a positive feeling, you're creating excitement. And that's the perfect cocktail, right? That you're basically immune to them, and what little you feel of them is just like, oh, it's exciting, I'm alive. Yeah, I'm about to go have an adventure with this cool girl, right? Because it is opportunity, not a negative. There's nothing negative. Think how lucky you are in life that like your big concern is there's a hot girl that I have an opportunity to fuck. That's like the worst thing happening in your life. That's what you're afraid of? Really? Seriously? Talk about first world problems, all right? Okay. Be excited, not scared. So that's the long-term solution. Build up that chemical tolerance and understand it's a situation that's exciting, not scary. Short term though, what do we do short term? Remember, gun to the head, right? All the exercises that we did today, gun to the head, gun to the head, gun to the head. Why did I focus on this, okay? Because this is the solution for approach anxiety as well, okay? What is the gun to head technique? It's like, okay, well, when you're not doing anything, your brain's like the easiest thing is to do nothing. Then once you do something, you get to a kind of a tipping point where it's now easier for your brain to continue. It's now easier for your brain to work for you than it was to work against you, okay? So what is an approach? If you think of an approach as this 45-minute long ordeal where you have to say all the right things and walk this tightrope and face rejection the whole time, of course that's fucking scary, okay? If you think of an approach as, hey, I just did an approach. That's literally all it takes. Because at that moment when I said, hey, it's now more awkward for me to leave. Does that make sense? That's all I have to do. You don't have to do this perfect approach for an hour. All you have to do is reach the tipping point. That's your only goal. Your only goal in putting the gun to your head and making yourself do an approach, the only goal is to get to that tipping point. So walk over. Right, as soon as he looked up and engaged with me, like I didn't even have to say a word actually in this case, right? As soon as he made eye contact with me and kind of adjusted, at that moment, it became more awkward for me to leave. And so your brain's like, oh shit, more awkward to leave. Now I'm gonna start working in your favor, okay? That's it, just go to the point where your brain's working in your favor. So sometimes it's a tap on the shoulder, sometimes it's just walking over, sometimes it's waving. Just do that. That's all the approach is, right? It's just that bare minimum amount to put the gun to your head. In the same way that having something to say is just yes and trust yourself. All right, walk over, trust yourself. Your brain is very, very smart when properly motivated. Just get it to that tipping point of motivation. Does that make sense for you guys? Okay, so that's the solution, just gun to the head. And accept bad approaches as positive. I tell this to students on immersion or students that I work with like one-on-one or whatever. I'm like, if you go over and do the absolute worst approach ever in the history of mankind, success, good job. If you walk over and you're so terrified that you vomit on the girl, good job. I'll buy you dinner. Seriously, you need to replace the calories anyway, right? I'll buy you dinner if you do that, right? But what's failure is when you see the girl and you don't approach. That's failure, because that's when there's no progress. That's when there's no growth, and that's when there's no chance of success, okay? Worst approach ever, success. Not going, failure, right? And that's it. So that's the philosophy solution, and this is what I did to overcome my own personal approach anxiety. Because from the age of 6 to the age of 18, I saw countless girls I wanted to open. I didn't even know the term open, but I found countless girls I would have loved to have had a relationship with, right? And I never went up and talked to them. And I knew that I should. I knew that the chances if I didn't do it were 0, and the chances if I did were greater than 0. And I didn't go. And every single time I didn't go, a little part of me died inside. I got a little bit less self-esteem. I got a little more anger at myself, a little more pissed off. It hurt a little bit more. And eventually I reached a point where the idea of rejecting myself one more time hurt more than any rejection a girl could possibly give to me. And at that moment, I decided to never reject myself again. I knew whatever came out of the approach could not be as bad as the feeling of not doing it, right? And so now I assigned pain to rejecting myself, and I assigned victory to doing the bad approach. When I had not done an approach for 12 years and I'd wanted to do it, and I finally did it, that approach could have gone so badly, I would have been so proud of myself for doing it, right? Does that make sense? Right? So assign pain to rejecting yourself. Assign pleasure to the bad approach. Understand, actually, the bad approach is actually really good for you because that's when you build up the most of that social pressure tolerance, right? You're actually gaining more from a bad approach in terms of that immunity to social pressure than anything else, right? So you physiologically are better after it. But also, it's a victory because you did the right action. You didn't reject yourself, okay? So I actually want you guys all to repeat after me right now. Ready? I promise to never reject myself.
To never reject myself.
One more time. I promise to never reject myself.
To never reject myself.
Okay, that needs to be a firm commitment, okay? Seriously. Don't reject yourself. She can reject you, that's fine. You can't control that. Not directly anyway, right? But never, ever, ever reject yourself, All right, that's true failure. All right, so here are again the solutions. So first of all, not rejecting yourself, get the philosophy right, assign pain the right way. Action solution, gun to the head. Find out that bare minimum tipping point and just make yourself do that. If you go do that, you're like, hey, what's up? And then at that moment, you legitimately don't have anything, fine, you at least did something. You at least pushed it a little further, you at least got some experience, you put a little more sort of in the tank, right? Fair enough, but make yourself do that up to that tipping point. And then finally, long term, build that chemical tolerance up and understand what an approach really is. It's not something to be scared of, it's an opportunity. Nothing bad is gonna happen to you. To your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, yes, back in the day. But right now, you're lucky as fuck to be able to talk to that girl, and it's only an exciting opportunity. That's it. That's absolutely it.